in diabetes care. We will talk about the challenges, the opportunity, and the needs for scientific validation. So my presentation will follow this plan. I will talk about diabetes, what it is, and the major problem for public health that diabetes constitutes nowadays. We will talk about medicinal plants as an alternative for the management of diabetes. We will talk about the challenges of using medicinal plants to manage diabetes, and we will explore the potential of some African medicinal plants in the management of diabetes and the strategy we need to enhance to overcome all these challenges. And at the end, I will introduce you to a diabetes, who is the project that aim to overcome some of the challenges we will talk about. So let's start. As you all know, diabetes is a major health issue in the world and also in Africa. Diabetes is the chronic metabolic diseases that is characterized by the elevation of the level of glucose or sugar in the blood. And we have different types of diabetes. We have the type 1, who is the diabetes linked to the incapacity of the pancreas to produce insulin, who is the hormone that helps glucose to go under the cell and to be used to produce energy. So the type 1 is genetic link. The 2 type, who is the adult diabetes, is due to the resistance of the receptor to respond to the insulin.
So that's some difficulty to the words are not coming.
2 type. And we have also the gestational diabetes. But in all the case, the issue is to reduce the level of glucose in the blood. And when this level of glucose goes up, that leads to different kind of metabolic disorder, which can affect the liver, the vessel, and can lead to hypertension and all other diseases affecting also the kidney and also the liver and most of the organ. So based on WHO, more than 400 million people worldwide have diabetes, and the occurrence of this disease is increasing year by year. So it's a huge problem, and the consequences is also multiple. So how to address the management of diabetes. A lot of factors contribute to the incidence or the intensity of diabetes in the population. We have lifestyle, food, dietary change. We have also genetic factor, and also another factor like poverty, lack of healthcare or education, who also contribute to the incidence and occurrence of diabetes in population. When we look at all these factors, we can easily understand why the level also of the diabetes in Africa, especially the low and poor country, is huge. For the treatment, we know that we have the treatment based on insulin, especially for the type 1 diabetes. And also we have some drug is used to produce, to reduce the level of the glucose in the blood. But all these treatments have numerous side effects, and also some weaknesses in the treatment has been reported. We need also to take into account the fact that the treatment is costly. So the population with a low income have difficulty to have access for this treatment. For insulin also, the challenges of storage, the condition of storage, the limits of access is also some problem that have to be addressed. So medicinal plants is here also some alternative for the management of diabetes. And as the data show, we know that in Africa, especially, there are some plants that are used to the treatment of diabetes. Most of the molecule used nowadays in the drug are most of these drugs are derived from raw material who is plant-based. So it's obvious that phytochemical components have DAO activity that can be used to the treatment of diabetes. That is why most of researchers are involved in the search of these biocompounds that can be used to the treatment of diabetes. Different reason is different reason can be in the way to promote the use of herbal medicine. We have the price, who is very low, the accessibility, and also the acceptance by the population, because traditional medicine is long history using medicine. But in the same time, they have some challenges we will talk about later. When we look at the data, we can find easily that there are many plants reported in different countries to the treatment of diabetes. Worldwide, we have more than 2,000 plants belonging to more than 1,000 gender, who is reported across the world for the treatment of diabetes. When we look at the situation in Africa, I take the West Africa country, we can see that a lot of data is available. In Benin, we have many studies who reported the use of plants in the management of diabetes, with the number of plants going to 13 to more than 200 plants. And also when we look at in Cote d'Ivoire, we have more than 80 plants reported. In Nigeria, in different states in Nigeria, the number range is from 20 to more than 120 plants. In Senegal, the number of plants reported is around 40. In Togo, we have more than 100. So all this information show that we have a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of plants reported as used by either traditional healer or just the population or herbalists to the management of diabetes. But when we look closely, we have some challenges. The first one is the lack of scientific validation in many aspects. We have a lot of plants reported, but at the final, when we look at the number of phytomedicine authorized in those countries, the number is very few. In Benin, for instance, we don't have some phytomedicine provided by our traditional plants who are authorized. So what is the reason? What is the reason? Most of the time is lack of scientific validation. Also, the potential toxicity of the plants is a big issue now. Because in the past, the plant is available in the forests, but today the deforestation is one of the consequences. Also, the agriculture, the use of pesticides in agriculture leads to the presence of heavy metal and the residue of pesticides in the plants. So the toxicity of the plants is now a big issue. And the quality control to ensure the quality of the medicinal plants is also difficult to address. And we have also some contamination and adulteration of some medicinal plants or raw material who is no longer the real quality or the real product the seller presents to the population. Also, many countries have limited regulation regarding to the use of the medicinal plants. that impacts the safety and the quality assurance of the products available to the use of the population. In other hands, we have also the lack of trust in the traditional medicine. Some healthcare provider and patients are skeptical of the use of traditional remedies, preferring the conventional treatments. We have limited valorization of the research result of plants. We have many studies, but the efficiency or effectiveness of this research and the communication to the use of this, the byproduct of this research are not really visible. We have the gap between the number of research produced and the number of products we have as a byproduct of this research. We have also to talk about the lack of funding. So all these challenges is also, we can view all this in the way our research platform in Africa is presented. Most of the advanced research in the domain, either when it's about the identification of the molecular structure of the components, or when it's to identify the mechanism of action of the substances, we see that it's the collaboration between African laboratory and North Country laboratory who help to perform these kinds of studies. So there are limited access of modern analytical tools to have a lot of data to produce this scientific evidence for the medicinal plant used in the treatment of diabetes in West Africa country. We can also talk about limited collaboration among researchers, either South-South or North-South. So Africa plants have a lot of potential, and the question now is, what strategy needs to be used to enhance this potential? First, we need to improve the capacity of all the actors involved in the management of diabetes.